Welcome in, everybody. It is another episode of Stars and Spikes. We're going nonstop this week.
One.
Yeah, another one. DJ Khaled, throw it up. Who was down at the Miami match?
He was.
Whatever. I'm Tyler.
Everybody was.
Yeah.
Everybody.
We're going to talk about that crap show here in a little bit. But as usual, I'm Tyler alongside Sydney, Tommy. And we're going to talk about some Atlanta United stuff. We're going to talk about Women's World Cup stuff. We're going to talk about Premier League stuff. We're going to have Eduardo Vizcayart from Apple TV coming on. He's a very accomplished announcer, and he actually was the one who called the first two Miami Leagues Cup matches. So he's very familiar with Messi in Miami so far. So that being said, we're going to jump right into it. But guys, what y'all feeling right now? How was it?
Talking about the match on Tuesday, or
just how you feeling? The matches are crap shows.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic against Cruz Azul, to be honest with you. We talked about it the other day, I think, but they're going to be desperate to win themselves. I think they're in the same boat as Atlanta United. Well, I don't think they are. They are in the same boat as Atlanta United. They got to win, whether that comes in regulation or on penalties, to advance to the next round. So they're going to come in hungry, on the road, looking to spoil the party for Atlanta United fans in their home ground. So I think be ready for anything, really. Be ready for some you-know-what-housery and stuff like that, as there's want to be among Mexican clubs and really CONCACAF clubs. So kind of hoping for the best, but expecting maybe not the best. So just me. Tommy?
Tuesday sucked. Let's just say what it was. It was bad. I don't know what the plan was, but not covering Messi was just a mistake. There was just a lot of errors. The lineup, I know you got it right, Tyler, and I'm glad I could finally say this. You were wrong. 100%.
No, I got it right. I didn't.
No, you were wrong. With you and Pineda were wrong together. So you guys could fist bump, next time you see him and say, we got it wrong. The back three of the three center backs, I liked it with Ronald Hernandez much better. I think that they need to go back to that. Bring Ronnie back in. Sadich was still just another one where I thought that he would have looked much better there. First 7 minutes, it looked okay, right? 7-8 minutes, it looked like it was going to be something. You score a goal that was offsides, a couple nice passes. Okay, we're moving. And then it was just Miami got into the game. Messi got into the game, right? And it was over. It was over. And my only other question, and a lot of people ask about this in spaces, is if you have Mayumba and you're trying to get him ramped up, why didn't he see the field? I understand the game's out of whack at this point, right? But you're playing again on Saturday. Why don't you just get him out there to get him out there? Because even Garth Lagerwey said you were probably going to see him in this match, and you never ended up seeing him. There's just so many weird things about this game that was just frustrating to me.
I guess game state is why you don't want to put him in, because you don't want to run the risk of getting him injured in the match that's already over. So I think if the match were a little bit closer, or if Atlanta United were within striking distance of a win or a draw, or to get it to penalties, I think that would have changed the conversation a little bit as far as Muyumba. But I think Pineda's thinking on that was, don't put him into a match where, he'll only be in there for a run out in the match that's already gone, right? And ultimately get himself injured. But yeah, even though Lagerwey may have said, okay, he's going to play, the final decision rests with Pineda, right, in the coaching staff. So maybe that was the situation they were going to take as it came, just to see, okay, where's the game sit right now? Is it worth bringing him in at this current point in time? And ultimately, he didn't see the field. I'd imagine that he does on Saturday. I don't think he's going to start or anything like that. but I imagine that he gets some significant time just to get him loose, just to get him a little bit more acclimated with the team. That being said, if it's a blowout and Cruz Azul is up like 3-0 or 4-0 or something like that, God forbid, I don't think you see him, because at that point, there's nothing to play for. You're already out of the tournament. But I think, yeah, if it's close, and Laney and that are in striking distance, I think he definitely see him play. And D-Dot, saying what a lot of people probably feel, poured up by Pineda, the team was not ready to play. And yes, I feel like Pineda, from a tactical standpoint, could have handled this match a much better job, or much better, I should say, than he did. At the same time, it just speaks to, again, maybe the quality of this team is very lacking compared to others. Certainly, you have the best player in the world on one side and one of the best midfielders, playmakers in the world as well with him. So how does that speak to, this is a whole other conversation, how does that speak to roster makeup? How does that speak to the rules of the roster building? Tepper said it earlier, we want less restrictions because we don't want to we want to spend more money. And yeah, I think everyone wants to see that. Everyone wants a more competitive product, so it's not like 3 or 4 teams just buying players left and right and getting a competitive advantage over everybody else. So
I think for me, what's irritating about this match isn't that you lost to Miami or you lost to Messi. Like, we always knew this was going to be a hard match. Anytime you play against Messi, it's going to be difficult. I think the entire club was not ready for this match from top to bottom. Front office, coaching staff, and the players. Nobody seemed to really, I think, realize the gravity of the situation that they were put in. Now, I think when you go into a match and you're playing against literally the best player in the world, at some point, your midfield, which is where he's playing at, should accidentally foul the guy. At some point, you should put a leg in because you're just trying to stop him, and he may stand you up and he may fall over and take a foul. Either way, you're slowing things down a little bit. But the fact that nobody fouled him or Busquets that night is embarrassing, honestly. You're nobody on the field. Nobody on the field besides Messi and Busquets are as good as Messi and Busquets. Almada, great player. He's not there yet. He's also a lot younger. But you've got to come in with some aggression at some point. And I mentioned this the other day, and I know it's kind of made the rounds and stuff, but it almost felt like a lot of these players were starstruck. Like they just were not quite prepared for the fact that they were really playing on the same pitch against Lionel Messi. And like, I hope you get it out of your system now, because Saturday is a knockout match at this point. You have to win this match. If you don't, you're out of the tournament. But then if you do, there is the possibility you're going to play Messi again in this tournament, and then you're going to play him again in September in the bins. And if you go to the bins and you have that kind of embarrassment, like, that's going to be a problem. You've got to get this crap out of your system now. And Omar, I agree completely. I had called it before. Ibarra would have killed/injured both. Ibarra wouldn't have cared. Ibarra would have laid into somebody, and we might have become the most hated team in the world because he might have freaking tore Messi's ACL or something. I don't know. But
That's
the fact
dramatic,
that you,
guys, come on.
I don't care. The fact that you let this guy just run through, I mean, he's going to run through the midfield. I get it. He's Messi, but try something. Like, why in the world are we letting him run free behind the back line? Why are we letting him run free through the midfield and nobody's even trying to put a leg out? It just drives me crazy, man. Like, you've got to be more aggressive. You got to show some more heart than that. That was pitiful.
The good news is, I'll say this real quick. The good news is Cruz Azul don't have a player like Messi or Busquets, so that's one good thing about Saturday.
Great. But you're right. Like, you got rid of your only teeth on the team. I mean, Ozzy Alonso's here, but we don't know what Ozzy Alonso is now in 2023. We've only seen limited minutes. Because Sydney, the media, I know we'll talk about the match later, but thinking about it, who do you start? in that position because you've got 3 options now, right? You said Miamba, okay, he's questionable, right? Like we don't know how much he could play. You've got Sosa, who has been absolutely terrible the last 3 games. After he had that good game, it's been pretty much all downhill. That Miami game, or I'm not sorry, the Orlando game, he lets that guy go unmarked, scores the tying goal, and then the Miami game, and then, or do you have Ozzie Alonso? Can Ozzie Alonso play 45 and Miamba play the other 45? Like, can that be something that's done? I don't want to see Sosa on the field right now. I just don't. I think I don't know. He's not in other players that I rant about world yet, but he's there. He's knocking on the
He's
door.
getting there.
It's just beyond frustrating, and I know it's a bad situation for him because we all loved Ibarra, but Ibarra provided something that this team hasn't had since Jeff Lorenowitz, and that's what's frustrating is because we finally got a little bit of, people were afraid to run through that midfield because he was going to come in. Ibarra was going to come in with a hard tackle. We're not scary again, and I don't think Mamba's that type of player that's gonna, take guys out. I think he's got more skill across the board, but he's not that bite. There's nobody that is scared of our midfield right now. You don't need a hockey goon out there, but maybe you do need a hockey goon out there. Someone that can play and that's just gonna make someone think about being able to say, I could just run right down the middle and score. Because that's basically what's happening most of these situations. And I will hit mute because I'm going to go scream now.
So, so what kind of tactical approach do you take then on Saturday? I kind of joked that you just put 10 men behind the ball and just play for the draw and take it to penalties. Yeah, I was joking, of course. But, yeah, how do you approach it?
This team doesn't know how to put 10 men behind the ball.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but what do you do? I mean, if you get it to penalties, you're okay. Just that you have to win the penalty shootout, which is at that point essentially an equalizer, essentially, because Tommy, you're shaking your head no.
Finish your thought. I'm just gonna keep shaking my head.
No, I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, you have to go for a win, right? Regulation in 90 minutes.
You're at home.
Yeah, exactly. That being said, if you go up 1-0 and Cruz Azul comes back in the 60th, 70th minute and scores to level it, I mean, you're not pushing for the winning goal at that point because you leave yourself exposed the other way. So I think the game state will be very interesting to see depending on what happens, depending on how this match turns out. I feel like this match, you need to get that first goal. You need to be the protagonist in the match. You need to set the tone in your own stadium. Tommy, you said it. Atlanta's at home. This isn't Fort Lauderdale. This is Atlanta, and yeah, they talk all the time about, hey, we want to make home a fortress. You got to do it against a team that is gonna throw everything at you, and is gonna want to avoid the embarrassment of losing to an MLS team twice in the same competition.
And also, I don't know if y'all heard that rumor real quick before you hop on, Tommy, about the coach. Essentially, this is like you either win or you're gone.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Like that pressure is there. So you're coming into Mercedes-Benz Stadium playing against a team that legitimately has not been great lately. Of course, there's always the Liga MX and MLS kind of like, the Mexican teams, they don't want to lose to MLS teams because they feel like, historically they're better, blah, blah, blah. I get that. So then on top of that, now you've got your coach who's literally like, if you don't win this match, he's gone. That's a lot of pressure. So
yeah, that's what it's like in Mexico.
Yeah, I mean that's
very
the nature of the game. And
it's a pressure situation. Like
sometimes I feel like we need a little more of that here in the United States, personally. But that's a different topic for a different day. Go ahead, Tommy. I just want to throw that little nugget in there as well.
Well, no, that was another thought. Like, I mean, Cruz Azul's got a lot to play for. The start of their season, I think they're winless, right? So they haven't won a game yet. So there's a lot on the line here. The fans are getting restless. It's been bad since 2020. We've talked about it endless. You started off hot, which is something we didn't do last year. You gave this team some hope. Maybe this was a bad part, right? Because you knew this was kind of a rebuilding year. You started off hot. You were scoring goals. You were just looking good. The games were entertaining. They were stressful, but they were high scoring. That's what the fans wanted. Now you went on that 2-game winning streak against Philly and Montreal, and you've had a lot of unbeaten streaks with a lot of draws in there, which you blew leads. But now you've just lost three in a row, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've lost 3 in a row. The spaces were hot. The spaces were very overreactive. But like you understand, right? Like you just said, this Miami game was a big game. You wake up for those big games, and they didn't wake up for that. They came in, and it just it looked good for a few minutes, and then soon as things got bad, the team just folded. A lot. I mean, and we've seen and look at their loss before that win streak. They lost 4-0 against the Red Bulls on the road, right? Like this team hasn't been able to win on the road. It's something that just they can't do for a long time. I'm not saying that this is the case, but I think Pineda probably is feeling just as much pressure as Cruz Azul. He might not say that, but you have a new president here. You've got the technical director on the hot seat. When someone takes over, everybody has to be at the top of their game. And right now, it includes the players, includes the technical director, it includes the coach. Everybody is probably feeling stressed. And you look, they just moved on from Gutman. Like, he's a fan favorite. He was doing his job pretty well. Obviously, struggling a little bit defensively. He's on his way out. Ibarra's out because of weird things. I think everybody is feeling stressed at this point. So I don't know. I think Pineda, he might not be saying it, but if I were him and I was in that situation, I'd be stressed too. Unless there's somebody there telling him, "Don't worry, you're safe." But I think it'd be stupid if anybody told him that.
If they get played off the pitch against Cruz Azul, I think you have to have some serious conversations about whether Pineda sticks around, because I think we talked about the other day, you have this nice long break. You have to stew over the eggs and watch everyone else play in Leagues Cup, and you're not playing competitive football for the better part of 3 weeks. I mean, that would be perfect time for a change. I'm not saying that will happen, but you wonder if Atlanta United just gets shelled like 3-0, 4-0, something like that.
It's done. Oh, it's
yeah.
done.
I mean,
I think he would be gone. I mean, I think Valentino would take over the team again at that point. Like, I don't think we're being dramatic. I mean, do you believe that, Sydney? I know you're just saying it, but do you believe it?
I mean, I don't think they'll lose like 3-0, 4-0, anything like that. But if they just come out,
but if it did,
absolutely, yeah. No, I think you have to make a move, because that will signify that when things are on the line and you're facing a pressure situation, and that's the response you give, then okay, we need to make some changes.
And at that point, that would be 3 of 3 again. If they lose, that would be 3 of 3 essentially knockout matches since Pineda's been in charge that they would have lost, right?
Yeah.
Go back to the New York playoff match in 2021. They haven't had a knockout round or knockout type game since then. Maybe two. I'll say 2, because Miami's game wasn't a knockout match, but it felt like it.
Open Cup.
Yeah,
true.
Open
Okay.
Cup
So
too.
I was right the first time. Thank you, Tommy. But yeah, the point being, the team is struggling in matches where you can afford to give up points occasionally, but the team is not doing well in matches where you can't afford to lose at all. So, I don't know, man. It's a conundrum, and I think it's one of those things where at that point, I mean, y'all know my feelings on Pineda, but like the writing, I think, might be on the wall. So,
yeah.
Look, we can talk about it a ton. Omar, you asking if I'm going to be at the training ground tomorrow? I'll let you know tomorrow. I'm not sure. I've been going nonstop, so we'll see. All right, because we got Eduardo getting on fairly soon, I wanted to hit on a couple things. Wanted to get y'all's thoughts because y'all did the kind of watch along last night for the World Cup. I was at the Premier League stuff with my family, and then we got a couple of Atlanta United 2 roster moves to really quickly hit on. So, World Cup, what'd y'all think?
Wasn't great, to be honest with you. I mean, you knew the Dutch were going to come out and look to really take control of the match. I think they did that in the first half. Second half, Horan, after that headed goal, I think that's really turned the match. She kind of got into it with her club teammate from Lyon. And that was kind of like the talking point afterwards. She said, don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry or something like that. Paraphrasing, but yeah, I feel like
right.
Yeah, she was right, and you love to see that the best players in the world stepping up when it matters most. So I think a draw, it's a bit disappointing, but considering the U.S. had gone down 1-0, was able to fight back and at least get a point from that and keep the Dutch from punching their ticket to the knockout stage, I think is okay at this point. Now you have to beat Portugal to get yourselves to the knockout stages. So that's kind of my questions. That's kind of my thoughts on it. Tommy, what are yours?
The Netherlands coach talked a lot of trash before the game, like saying like the rest of the world's basically catching up with them. And they're right. I mean, there's more. I'm sorry?
I was saying he's not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the quality is getting better, which is what you want. Like, you're seeing it slowly happen. But the USA came out, and the Netherlands looked shook in that first, 8-9 minutes. Kind of like Atlanta United in the game. Like, they looked good, and Netherlands just couldn't clear it. The USA was getting chances, and you let them in with that opportunity. They started to grow into the game a little bit, score that goal. The confidence was up. I mean, there was some really bad passing in the game by the USA women, just giving the ball away extremely easy. So it was very frustrating to watch. And then just towards the end of the game, especially before that goal happened, the USA kept attacking, and it looked very good. I still say it, and Sydney, we were talking about it on Zoom. They weren't using subs, and they actually asked the coach about it, and he just said, I felt like my players were playing well, and I didn't feel I needed a change. I don't disagree, but there were definitely some players that looked tired. I thought towards the end, especially both wingers were starting to look a little exhausted. I don't know. It's a long tournament. Maybe you bring someone in there, fresh legs in the final 10 minutes. But the only thing I'm rooting for, they need to finish first in their group, because we found out the team that finishes first in it next Saturday, a 10 o'clock game for the first knockout round. That's like a party. That's a party like time for the United States, because these times are terrible. I understand it's New Zealand, but games at 3 a.m, 6 in the World Cup finals at 6 a.m. It's just bad. So I'm rooting for them to, they got to beat Portugal, and then they got to win out on the goal differential. And if they do, hey, next Saturday, go get brunch, watch the USA knockouts.
Yeah, and I'm just checking the advancement scenarios. If they win, they're in essentially to the knockout stage. If they draw, they're into the knockout stage, and so a result gets them through. So
yeah, if they lose, then they would have to rely on Vietnam beating the Netherlands, which I don't think is going to happen. No disrespect to Vietnam, but they've just not had a great tournament so far. So just get a result and you're in. That's how you get to look at it.
Yep. You're at the Summer Series.
Yes.
On Wednesday night, weren't you?
So
SummerSlam.
I know, right? That's what I kept thinking of. Just a couple of quick stories. First of all, by the time the Newcastle match came around, I've missed seeing that place that energetic. It was really cool. It was really cool to see. A little over 70,000 people in attendance. Really cool atmosphere. I got to say, the first match between Brighton and Brentford, you could tell you had a lot of people coming in for the Newcastle Chelsea match. That was the main event, really. But it was so cool to see Brighton and Brentford, because they actually played a really good game. It was back and forth. Their possession was 50-50 even. They both had almost even shots, but Brighton pulled it out. They had a really good game. We got to see our old transfer rumor friend Moises Caicedo. He had an appearance, so he got to come on. But it was fun, man. I got to bring my oldest two kids, my wife. We all got to go, and it's just a fun environment because it was like one of those where I didn't really care who won. I mean, obviously the second match, I'm more of a Newcastle fan. I like Miggy, obviously, but that place was very blue. A lot of Chelsea fans there. So, but just a great like spectacle of the game, kind of maybe a little bit of an appetizer of what to expect here in the World Cup. You had
Yep.
so many kits from all over the world, man. It was funny because my middle son, he came to me. He's a big Fulham fan. He loves Jedi, and he came to me and my wife before and was like, I don't have a kit to wear that's like the teams that are playing. And I was like, I don't either. I'm wearing an Arsenal kit. So I was just like, wear your Fulham kit. So he wore his Fulham kit. This guy came up to him as we were like walking through the bins, and the guy was like, hey, Fulham, and like, kind of shouted him out a little bit. My oldest son was wearing his Messi jersey, traitor. But no, there was a lot of Messi jerseys there. I saw one Miami kit. Obviously the 4 teams that were represented, a lot of Atlanta kits, obviously. Swansea, so Colonel, shout out to him. Brazil, a lot of national teams.
Any Manchester United kits?
I saw a couple of Manchester United kits, saw a couple of City kits. Saw, just all, like literally all over. I saw Eritrea, the country Eritrea.
Wow,
like
that's
dude,
awesome.
just wild.
That's awesome.
So just it was a really cool celebration of the game. So the kids loved it. Kids enjoyed it. There were 2 kids next to us that almost got into a fight. It was really funny. And by kids, I mean like 7 years old. During the Newcastle Chelsea match, I love to be able to tell this story because it just shows like these kids are really, really, really into it. But there was this one kid that was a Newcastle fan up like probably 6 rows from the other kid. And he's like, even when it had gotten a little quiet and there was really nothing going on, like during the hydration breaks, which was another story that was funny. The kid's up there and he's going, Chelsea's garbage. And this kid below him was wearing like decked out in his Chelsea stuff. And he turns around. He's like, he yells up at the kid. He's like, shut up. And the kid just, Chelsea's garbage. And he kept turning around while his parents kept like pushing his face and just telling him to like leave it alone. This went on for like 10 minutes straight. And at one point I was about to just be like, dude, let the kid say something back. Like, let him go.
Right.
Like, we might as well have us a little 6-year-old brawl up here in the, so it was funny though. It was genuinely, it was actually a really good time for everybody.
Yeah.
Henry, I think you're on here as well listening. Henry's section up in the 300 section, let the wave die out. It started next to my section. I'm not proud of it, but it did. They got the wave going, got it to go almost all the way around the bends, and it hit Henry's section on the other side, and it died out. So I'm a little disappointed.
I hate when the wave turns on when you're playing FIFA.
Yeah,
like they do it during FIFA. I'm like, am I not entertaining you digital people?
Like, am I not doing enough for you guys? We had like this group of younger guys that were like, let's get the wave started, and he's trying to he did a good job getting everybody hyped up. I'm not gonna lie.
There's one way you want to irritate Atlanta United fans. It's the wave.
Yes. Yeah.
Or sitting.
I'm not.
Or
sitting.
That too. We got yelled at. Me and Michael.
Waving flags.
Atlanta United fan TV got yelled at for.
Yeah, I saw that.
But
Miggy scored too. I mean,
Miggy scored, and I can't tell you the last time I've heard the bins that loud. It was a moment, and it is a moment I'm glad I got to see with my family. I'm so happy because they never got to see Miggy score. My wife got to see him score once before he left, but my kids have never seen him score in the bins. So it was just a special moment. And right before, because it was just before stoppage time, or just before the end of the first half in stoppage time. And he did what Miggy does, man. He received that ball, made a quick turn, and he turned on his ostrich legs and took off and used that left foot. And it looked like he was back in an Atlanta United kit. And it was just fun to see, man. It was super exciting.
Good stuff.
So just happy to be there. happy to be able to be there with the family, and lots of families there, obviously. So a good taste of what to see in Atlanta probably in 2026.
Yeah. Great stuff. Great stuff.
So
So I wish
How
I
was
was
the
there.
grass?
the grass actually was pretty good. You could tell it is not even kind of set to be permanent. Like this was just a very temporary thing. It's going to be different than what they do at the World Cup. I mean, if you looked, you could see some spots that were starting to brown a little bit, but it seemed like it played well. Not many slips, you know. I mean, it seemed like it held up pretty well, and I mean, it looked good from the distance that we were at. So, and also the field dimensions were just a slight bit smaller, so the sight lines were a little bit better, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Fun time.
Yeah. Sounds like a good night. Sounds like it. And yeah, glad you had fun. I'm glad most everyone that went had fun, except that kid
That one kid,
was getting yelled at by that Chelsea fan.
All right,
I love playing with kids at games. It's the greatest thing in the world. I get
Hey, man.
every game I go to, kids yell at me. Like I'm like a magnet with kids fighting me.
The game's growing in America. We got 6-year-olds arguing over
Yeah,
Chelsea and Newcastle.
exactly.
It's a good problem to have.
Exactly. There are a couple of LA United 2 news items too that we want to cover.
Yeah, let's hit on that after we talk to Eduardo. We'll cover that after we get done because he is a super busy man. Eduardo Biscarat is going to be covering obviously the Leagues Cup, we already know, and he's also doing the Women's World Cup. So the dude's busy. So we got about 20 minutes with Eduardo. So we're gonna get Eduardo in. He's gonna introduce himself, and we're gonna dive into it. Eduardo,
Hey,
how you doing?
How's it
I'm
going?
well. How are you? How are you?
Good.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You are an incredibly busy guy right now. It sounds like.
Yes. I'm in a different time zone right now, but I'm in Miami. So
Okay. Well, you're good with us. We're in
Yeah.
Atlanta, so you're not out of
No.
our
But for me, for my clock right now, it's like maybe 9 a.m. or so.
Oh yeah,
something like that. Yes.
Well, good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning to you.
So tell us a little bit, just for those that maybe don't know, just kind of give us, because you have a vast broadcast career, just kind of enlighten everybody as to kind of how long you've been doing it, who you've been doing it for, and everything else.
Well, everything started actually in Atlanta. So I came from Argentina in 1995, and I worked at the Olympic Games in the press division of the games, the research part, and my son was born there in 1996, and that year I started working for CNN in Spanish, and I was coming from printed media. We're talking about the 90s. Internet did not exist yet, so everything changed after I joined CNN. After that, I started freelancing for ESPN, and that's where I became a TV person. I wasn't that when I came to this country. So Atlanta is a very fun place for me, and so I feel like very connected to the city.
Yeah, it'll be good to have you back at a Mercedes-Benz. Well, not back at Mercedes-Benz.
I was
back in
there.
Atlanta.
I was there once. I was there for the New York City Football Club game.
Okay.
And I was highly impressed by the stadium, by how, everything has changed. I was able to walk around, and it was, it's very cool. I mean, I came back, I went back to Atlanta a couple times, even to my neighborhood, but where I used to live, which was in an area called Peachtree Hills. And, and yeah, that's it's like I say, it's a very special place. I was born in Argentina and I moved to Atlanta, so it's like there was no in between.
Yes, it's a great place, and Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I agree. It never gets old walking into that stadium. So yeah, glad to have you back on Saturday. You're obviously from Argentina, as you've mentioned. So you've grown up around the game. You've grown up, watching the big names, big players, the big moments from Argentinian football, '86 World Cup, Maradona, players like that. And now Messi, you've covered it all. You've seen it all. So, I mean, is it kind of like a pitch me moment for you to call Messi and watch him do his work?
Well, it's always special, I have to say. Like he's a special player, and I think he's a special person. I think his will. I would, like I was born in 1969, so I saw Michael Jordan, and I think Jordan is perhaps one of the best athletes altogether that I have seen in my life, and his will to win, his competitiveness, which is something that Kobe Bryant had. But I don't want to argue about that now because it's not a context. But I think Jordan was, he did it first. I think he was better. I don't want to offend anyone, but Messi comes after all the great players, and he was able to find a way to succeed in his when people didn't think that it was possible for him to accomplish what he accomplished. So I think it's kind of Jordan-esque that the way that his will has taken him to this height. And now people were thinking that he's coming to Miami on vacation, like he's just passing through. He's just gonna I don't know, he's in this project just where he's gonna put his name only on the table and that's it. And he has been able to change this team with his presence, and obviously with Sergio Busquets and other players that have already come in, and Miami is all of a sudden is not playing like the team who's in last place of the league.
I wish he was on vacation on Tuesday. I wish he was playing like that, because it wasn't fun for Atlanta United fans on Tuesday.
Yeah. No, I know. It was just it was just a very bad game for Atlanta on Tuesday. I was able to talk to Ozzy Alonso after the game, and I asked him. I said, what happened? I mean, you guys were empty. Like, he had more time to prepare this game than Miami, and it was the first game where Busquets and Messi started in probably like a month and a half. So. But they felt so comfortable. I don't know if it was the heat, the humidity, or what happened to Atlanta. The team started with a back three and then it switched to a back four, but it never was able to actually close those gaps in the midfield and between the midfield and the defense, where Miami was like, and the attackers like Wolf and Wiley were not able to just work with the rest of the team to just make that part of the field smaller for Miami. Miami were so comfortable and they were able to find so much space, and Messi especially. And if you give him space, he's is no good.
That's what we were talking about before you hopped on, is that, like you said, they had more time to prepare. They're the fresher team, and just coming out flat. And you have a new president with Garth Lagerwey, and there's been a lot of fans that are waiting for something to happen, waiting for the right things. And we're just wondering, is Gonzalo Pineda possibly on the hot seat?
I don't know. I think, the team did not make it to the playoffs last season. And this is a huge argument that we have about, you are hardcore fans and you demand, high performance, because Atlanta is a team that when, it started playing, it meant what they accomplished. It meant a lot for the city. After so many years of the city of Atlanta not developing and delivering a major championship, Atlanta United did that and broke perhaps that curse. And now, like, when things are not going so well, you just question that. And I'm glad you guys are questioning that, because I'm not in a position to do it, because I'm an outsider. But yeah, I don't think Pineda at this point should be the main focus, because you see the moves that the team has made so far during the season, getting rid of certain players that actually I don't think it has necessarily made the team better. I don't know if there's a higher goal that it's to be achieved. If I see that, I'm trying to read in between lines and saying maybe Atlanta is going to make a big move, and so what is that move going to be?
It's it's really funny you say that because, up until now this year, you go back to Atlanta coming into the league in 2017, and from that point, you had a different president who was very involved with like the fan base in terms of like getting things hyped up, getting moves hyped up. And we knew we weren't going to have that with Garth Lagerwey. We understood he's a different president. He's a different style of guy, but it has been almost radio silence. Like there's been rumors that have popped up, but to your point, yeah, you got rid of Franco Ibarra, you got rid of Andrew Gutman, two players that, though not perfect, I do feel like they made the team better than it is right now. And
Arujo.
yeah, I mean, we that's a whole different topic of conversation. But like, at this point, it felt like you're all right. You're making moves and you're making room for guys to come in, and there's nothing. I mean, the biggest rumor that's been popping up has been Diego Rossi as a potential, coming back from Turkey. But other journalists in Atlanta, they keep shooting that down, and so it's like, are we gonna have to wait till the wintertime for something to happen, for a big move to be made? Because as it stands right now, the team is not anything close to where they were at the beginning of the summer transfer window.
Exactly. And also you have something that it's eventually, you guys know it's going to happen. It's going to come up that Almada may leave, because Almada is young. He won the World Cup. He's shining. And with this type of, I don't know, way of doing things or policy, maybe he's on the table too, and he might leave. So I don't know exactly. You said, there's silence, lots of silence, and that is actually, from my experience, not so good.
Yeah, and I've kind of held.
I don't want to paint a dark picture, but that's what I see.
It's okay though. Like people need to hear it from other people than like us and some of the local media. It's good.
But you saw with Almiron, and they're trying to probably replicate the same type of situation. He's coming not from a team, with a lot of respect for Lanús or for Vélez Sarsfield. He's not coming from Boca River or other teams that are like huge in Argentina. He's coming from more humble background, but he made it to the World Cup. He made it into that roster for some reason, and he's young. He was the youngest player of that roster, and they won the World Cup, and he had minutes on that World Cup. So you can see that that's written on the walls. And so what are they going to do when that happens?
Yeah, and kind of a moment that Atlanta United fans are dreading is when Almada is sold. Not if he's sold, but when he's sold. So we'll have to see what happens with that. So kind of shifting gears toward the match itself on Saturday against Cruz Azul, who are really in a pressure situation right now. Took it for Teddy, according to reports. If Cruz Azul lose this match, this is his last match with the club. But then even with Pineda, and we talked about Pineda a little bit, but maybe he faces a little pressure too if Atlanta United lose out in the group stage to Cruz Azul. So each team, Atlanta, because they lost on Tuesday and want to make things right, and the Cruz Azul, who want to really essentially play for their coach's job, it's two clubs who really need a win on Saturday to keep going. So, I mean, what's your gut feeling about Saturday? What the tactical outlook will be for each team, and I guess who kind of comes out on top? Do you think?
Well, for the results, it's an elimination match. So, for the results and for how Cruz Azul played on the first game, and they have the advantage, like a draw. A draw without the penalties, yes. And so the draw, we have to discard the draw because the draw is actually, there's an extra point and you have to win the shootout. So, anyway, yes, there's no pressure for the draw because of that change of the rule. However, I think that Cruz Azul played better than Miami with minding this situation. It was not the same Miami team, and it had a lot of problems in the beginning. Yetling was playing in the left. Then Fry got injured, and Martino has to make that when he made that switch, it's unfortunate because the guy is probably going to be out for 8 months. Probably he's going to come back next season, and we hope he comes back well, because I think it's a third surgery on the knee. And they started to find themselves in better place. And then Miami took off. They took the lead. Cruz Azul equalized. But when the other guys came in, Miami started to show like they got more control of the game. Yet it was a game where Cruz Azul find lots of moments, good moments, and if justice would apply to sports, probably the first half should have ended maybe 3-0, or let's say 3-1, because the amount of opportunities, and Calendar was the best man of the field until that wonderful Messi goal. But Cruz Azul was better than Miami, and I'm thinking that they're under pressure. They had a whole week to prepare. They're going to play, yes, on this field that they have to adapt to, but I don't think it presents that many circumstances because it's a first-class field. But I think Atlanta has to show a great reaction, and emotional, and in terms of all kinds of performance, tactical performance and physical performance too.
So we're a week into this Leagues Cup. We weren't sure what to think of how this was going to go. Was it going to be exciting? Was MLS going to dominate? Liga MX going to dominate? What have your thoughts so far on this tournament?
I think MLS is doing better than I don't know if it's the fact of playing here. It's I think more like the teams are more dominant, but I didn't know exactly. I'm with you there. I didn't know exactly what to expect before, because it's an unknown territory. You don't know how the teams are actually going to take this competition. You know that there's spots for the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and you know that there's a huge incentive there, sports-wise and financial-wise. So, but we didn't know exactly how it was going to play. Yet, we have to put in mind that the teams, the big Mexican teams, are starting to get in action now. So, but I'm surprised that the MLS teams are doing a little bit better than I thought. Yet, Cruz Azul is a team that hasn't won in the whole season, has played 4 competitive matches and scored only 2 goals. So they have that problem. They have a problem of being able to capitalize situations and moments in the game. But Atlanta is actually a team that is not showing stability, and for them could be a good victim. I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but I think we'll see. It's going to be a very, very interesting game, because at this point, both teams could not take this game more seriously.
Yeah, it's 2 coaches right now that are obviously stressed for different reasons, because there's the rumor of one possibly getting fired with a loss, and Pineda's just dealt with 3 straight losses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Atlanta it was coming from the period where Giacomakis was absent, and the performance of the team, lowered, and the results, create an impact. I also think that all the international games, Gold Cup, and the players, some of them went to international duty before that, and the Nations League and everything created a bigger impact on certain teams. And Atlanta was, I think, one of those teams that actually felt it. And also, it all came together when Atlanta let those 2 players go. So I think it's a perfect storm for Atlanta. And I don't know if they're going to have the resources to regroup and come up with a victory, at least on the shootout on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be, and that's been one of the storylines. I think, honestly, when it came to before the Leagues Cup and we were all looking at like the schedule and everything else, I think this was obviously the secondary match, because even before Messi, it was the Joseph Martinez story, with Atlanta United. And then, so you go down to Miami, you get just walloped. It was not a good game by any stretch of the imagination. And to your point, like Cruz Azul's not scored many goals, but Atlanta has given up ridiculous goals this entire season. It's been really, really bad defensively. So, now you've got a coach trying to keep his job. You have really, for Atlanta, home field advantage is what you have to rely on here, and you have to rely on your talent like Almada and Giakoumakis. And if there's any time for that, the magic moment to happen, it's going to be in this one, because if Atlanta gets knocked out of the Leagues Cup this early, especially coming off the back of the matches they've had in MLS before this, it's not going to be a good look. And like Sydney was saying earlier, you have now 3 weeks to kind of decide, what do you do from here, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a very interesting conundrum that Atlanta's sitting in right now. We weren't expecting this, even a week ago.
Yeah, but from my experience, I think this point of the season, it's been a very demanding season, with the Leagues Cup too, and I think most teams are going to end up playing more games than they did last season, with many difficulties with this crowded schedule and with additional competitions that we mentioned before. So you can hope that I don't think, and I hope that Pineda is not fired, because if things don't go well on Saturday, because I think, but yes, he's going to be under a lot of pressure, because then, like you say, the team will have like 3 weeks to regroup, to work, to improve, and to look fresh again and competitive again. I think that the players that are left are good, and I think the coach is good. So they have to somehow find a reset button to just keep on going. And maybe, like there's a time because Atlanta has played, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have played like 24 or 23 games.
Yeah, I think it's 23 at this point. It's
23. So you have 11 games left in the season, in the MLS season. You guys are in playoff position right now. And so you think that things are going to improve, but you need obviously a lot of support on Saturday, because you have lots of Mexican fans in Atlanta, and that's going to give a lot of color to the stadium. I hope it's full, all the way, but also like the Atlanta fan has to show up and support the team, because now it's the moment where all fans are needed.
Yeah, this is going to be a big moment for the fans as well. We always talk about the atmosphere at the Benz, and it's one of the best. It really is one of the best, I think. I mean, I've been to a handful. Sydney's been to a lot. Tommy's been to quite a few, but it not being home, based or anything, but it's a fun place to be at. So I know you got to go. I know you're super busy. I got one quick question for you, and it makes it easy because you were actually an Atlanta guy for a while. You're going to be here again. So where do you go? I don't know how much time you've got here. Where do you go in terms of what's your favorite restaurant? What do you do while you're here?
Well, I have not been in the city for quite a while, and I wish I could go and spend more time. This Saturday, actually, I'm not going to be there. I was initially going to be calling this game, but I have a game next morning, I think at 4 a.m. There's no way I can make it back on time. So that's how the days have been for me. But the engagement that I have with the Women's World Cup, it preceded what came in the season. And actually, I didn't think that I was going to be involved in Leagues Cup at all. But anyway, things happened this way, and I'm glad to be involved, and I'm sad that I'm not going back to Atlanta this weekend. But the city has changed.
Yes,
the city has changed a lot, and it's for me, when I arrived, we were talking about like 28 years. I came in on July of 1995, and so it's a different city. And I went to a place like close. It was behind of Georgia Tech. I think that's west of Georgia Tech, and I ate very well, and I walked around downtown, and it brings a lot of memories. So I went a little bit to my old neighborhood just to see, a glance, and there were places there like that I used to go. There was actually a Mexican place that it was very good. You know, like on the Bucket area, there was a
Oh yeah.
Fellini's Pizza was there, and I think it's still there. And
Yeah, it is. Fellini's.
yes,
Yep.
yeah, and it was very good. And let me remember the other place, the Tree House, I think it was called, there on Peachtree Hills, and the Mexican place still there because I looked it up on a map and it was there. Its name is Jalisco, and so everything's
Okay, yeah.
changed, but Atlanta is still Atlanta, and for me, it will always be a special place.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, next time you're here, next time you're up in the box, come let us
Yeah,
know. We'll be up
of
there as well.
course.
So we'll come say hey, and we'll give you some new places to go eat at.
For sure, for sure. I ended up going back to the Omni and eating there at night, but I actually, like I say I want to walk. It was raining when we got to the stadium, so on that night with New York City,
Yeah.
but then it wasn't when the game ended, and I walked back, and like I used to work at CNN, which is right there,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
I,
Yep.
I went down to the food court to have a coffee, and everything's still there, and I know the city is changing and will continue to change, but and it's for me, it's a very special place.
Well, we can't wait to see you back here, man. We know you're busy. We appreciate your time 100%, and good luck calling the matches this weekend, and good luck with the Women's
Yes.
World Cup. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'm sorry I can't just remain here for the rest of the show with you, and I hope Atlanta United is able to turn this thing. I know maybe the game for you guys was cruel, and there is like Martin on the sideline, Martinez there. It's like, and he actually did not have to play a huge part in the game, and I think that's one of the special things about Martinez. Probably he's not at his best, like when he scored 37 goals in the season for you, but maybe he's understanding that he's playing with someone who is better, and probably that will make him better, and it's a very special circumstance in his career. So it was the perfect storm for Atlanta, and this team has changed, and we hope, because before we didn't know actually, this is like, like when Beckham came to the league as a player, he changed many aspects of the game and rules of the game. And I think the league needed another push. And, you have the World Cup coming up, you have Copa America coming up next year. And maybe it's like the tree needed to be shaken. And Messi, like skepticals were saying like, it's like, he's just finished. He's going to come here and collect the check and go home and enjoy the weather. And but maybe it's going to, make owners and presidents of other teams change the dynamic, and maybe actually, people who follow and don't follow soccer, football, and they will realize that they're missing out on something special. And so it's a very special moment for me. It's because I'm older than you guys, but it's a comparison. I wasn't old enough then, but I read about it, and I was able to talk to people when Pelé came in the 70s, and he changed something that existed in a very small capacity. And now there's a seed, there's a plant, and probably there's a tree, and we need to make this convert it into a forest. And maybe Messi is going to be the person who's going to do that. And the vision that these owners here in Miami had, maybe will change the league forever. Who knows? Maybe you guys, we're like in a pivotal moment, like being the victim of this beginning, but maybe something is on the make here, and something magical is going to happen. Let's hope so.
We've mentioned it as well. You see the celebrities going to the Miami games. You see those types of things happening, and the people showing up, and how busy it is, and having to revamp the stadium. And if there's any time that MLS rules and things are going to be changed and pushed to the next level, this is it. So
yeah,
just
but because
good.
like you're saying, those people who go there, it's like, celebrities like that. Oh, well, maybe I need to be seen. No, they went because they wanted to go to the games, to this game, and they are going to return as things evolve and get better. And that's exactly what the league needs. That's exactly what, I mean, sadly, and it's criticism because like I probably have seen like pictures of this when Messi left the game, and the game probably was the best game that Inter Miami played in its whole history, but people left. And that for a football fan is unforgivable. You have to just, like give your best to the team that gave you, its best. Then it's coming from ashes basically, and with a lot of injuries, with a lot of problems, with a lot of circumstances. But maybe that culture is going to change at some point. It's been said that the South Florida fan, it's very special. It's like even with the Heat, sometimes the Heat maybe like playing a championship game, and maybe it's losing by 20 points and with 10 minutes to go or 5 minutes to go, and people start heading to the exit. And I think they honestly, I don't want to criticize, but I think maybe there's something there to be improved.
Yeah, and then we haven't even talked about the South Florida thunderstorms and all that are going to fly through and throw a wrench in things.
And actually, it's like it's ironic because if Miami had a stadium like you guys have, this would be total madness. And
Yes.
the stadium is hard to get to, and it's not huge,
Yeah.
but you have the feeling that if he was playing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, like things would be crazy.
That September match is going to be a special one, so we'll get to get a glimpse of it then. That's going to be wild. So
Exactly.
it'll be interesting. But
Mhm.
Eduardo, we appreciate it. Well, look, we're not kicking you out. We want to be gracious for your time and everything. We know you're busy, but you have an open invite. You're welcome back anytime.
I'm glad to be here with you, and I'm happy to hear your opinions as well, and not just your questions, because I would learn a lot from you about your team, and I just that for me is priceless. When I go to each city, and I have to thank MLS and Apple TV for bringing me into this adventure, because I started with them this year. I know I have like 20 something years in football, but I was able to dive into this league, and it's people, it's circumstances, it's stories, and it's been great. Going to places like I had been to Columbus, but like going to Charlotte and feeling that something on the make, and going to other venues, going to Nashville, and so Cincinnati, and there is something that is, like I said before, it's changing, and for me, the interaction with you guys, or going to the stadiums and seeing like the coaches and philosophies that are now, I think that is changing. I think the league is changing because you can see even on American coaches, like you can see different styles. You can see before I honestly, in my humble opinion, thought like everybody was trying to play exactly like the other coach was doing, or like but you have like a Bruce Arena now. He's like very experienced man, and he plays his way. But you see other coaches like Noonan, like Curtin, like that they are successful and they're trying to find their way. And for me, that it's huge. It's very healthy, and it's very important, because that's actually going to develop American football, and that's going to make it better, and that's going to make people go crazy, I hope, in the next World Cup.
Yeah. We'll look back at this, I think, at this moment 20 years from now, and think this is where it really took the next step to really be the big sport in this country. Certainly.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. So, Eduardo, we appreciate it 100%. We appreciate the time and the kind words as well. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
You too.
Great times.
Yes.
Great
Yes,
times.
For sure.
So, and wealth of experience. I didn't know the Atlanta thing actually.
Hmm.
So that's a really cool like backstory that I had no idea about. So I wish he had been to the Benz more than once,
Yeah, exactly. That
but
was
he'll
a
be
Get him
special
back.
back at some
place.
point.
He'll be back.
Yeah, special place.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, great interview with Eduardo, and really appreciate his time, and hopefully
Yeah.
we can have him
100%.
back soon. Um. So yeah, we have the Cruz Azul match predictions to talk about. Do we want to get on the Lady United 2 moves today? Couple
Yeah,
of interesting moves, by the way.
they really are. Look, I'll spell them out real quick. You guys talk about them, thoughts, opinions, whatever else.
I have a strong
So
one for
yeah,
one of these.
so the twos have made more moves at this point than the first team. So it was announced, was it yesterday morning, I believe, when it came out, that they have signed Chris Gloucester on loan from New York, and then Matias Gallardo from River Plate, who was on a free. So they signed him for a year. He is they have an option for the second year, 19-year-old, and has a little bit of a family treat thing going on that might be rather interesting. But yeah, two interesting signings kind of out of nowhere. And at face value, it's all right. Well, maybe they need a little bit more help defensively. They're looking not just at homegrowns, but guys maybe that they can pick that are ripe that maybe they feel like they could develop with the twos and then make that jump to the first team. That's cool. But I think there has to be a future concept here because this team is not trying to go out and win MLS Next Cup or whatever, the title, just because it's there. Like, obviously you want to win no matter what, but that is not their primary goal. Their primary goal is to develop the team and develop guys for the first team. That's what the twos are for. So, obviously Gallardo has quite a bit of family history, but Chris Gloucester has a lot of talent and time in the league as well. So,
Yeah. Yeah, obviously with NYCFC, part of their set up their 15 appearances with NYC. Former Red Bull player, had his rights transferred to NYC in 2021. So the was on the Sacramento, then went back to NYC, play with their reserve side. Now with Atlanta United too. So yeah, you wonder if this is a player that can work his way back into the MLS ranks if he does well enough down the stretch with, Atlanta United too. I don't feel like this is a move to keep him down with the twos. I think this is a move that he will eventually, if he performs well, will eventually see himself back in MLS and with Atlanta United. So maybe it's a insurance policy in the left back in case something happens to Wiley or whoever you put back there. So yeah, interesting move. And then Gallardo, of course, his father, former manager of River Plate. So the River Plate Atlanta United connection continues there. So don't know too much about Gallardo. Played, I think, one or two matches with River first team, others with his father. So maybe it's something that it's another player that Atlanta United really believes in can make an impression of the first team. So interesting moves, both of them, and we'll see what comes off them.
and he's a 10. Just throwing that out there.
Huh? Okay.
He's an
Really wish
attacking
I had
midfielder.
my tinfoil hat here.
Yeah,
I need to make it now.
I was
that-
thinking you were gonna like dip off camera for a minute and come back with one on.
I was thinking about how long it was going to take me. I don't remember where I was doing this rant, and it was probably on Twitter after a couple drinks last night. But there's teams that are playing chess while most teams are playing checkers. We were playing chess for quite a few years. We were definitely looking how we sign players left and right. People were like, how do they fit in these guys in the cap? How is this working, right? Now we're talking about that with LAFC. We're talking about that with Miami. You got one of the best recruiters as a coach. Tata Martino's coming in. He's convincing Miguel Almiron to come, getting other players to buy in. Come play for me. We're gonna win championships. I'm gonna get you to the Premier League. You've got this, and you've got the perfect thing here. And the league is growing, and teams are evolving. LAFC's evolved. You still don't know how they've been fitting players into their cap. And now you're looking at Miami. I mean, I think they just signed someone else today.
Yep.
Like it's maddening. You bring the kid in early. You get him paid. Are you drinking cough syrup?
No. I mean,
Oh, okay. It looked like a little Dixie cup. I didn't know. I know
fruit is
you were
cough
losing your voice. Sydney's been feeling under the weather. I'm the
yeah,
only
I
healthy
had to
one,
get
so I
past
wasn't
that.
sure.
I'm off the injured list at this point. I sound better. I think. Almost lost it last night though.
That's what I figured. Okay, I just had to make sure that you weren't abusing cough syrup.
No, not me.
Yeah.
I get concerned.
I appreciate
All
your
right,
concern, though.
Let me put the tinfoil hat back on. Okay, so you're bringing in the coach's kid, right, to go play with the twos for a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know.
Are you saying
I don't
Marcelo
know.
Gallardo as the next head coach of Atlanta United?
I'm not saying it, but I'm saying maybe. I don't know. Again, it's just dumb, but like I think you need to evolve, and I think that you need that coach to be able to convince some very good players to come in or good ownership, right? Like those are just things. Chanel's telling me to take off the tinfoil hat. I don't know. Like it's maybe, but like you need these good coaches to bring players in. And my conspiracy is I don't, or my thought is that Pineda's just not that person. You need some good recruiting here. I think if you bring in a new technical director that has some clout across the world, right? Has connections. Obviously, Carlos has had connections, and he's been able to bring some players in from that. But maybe bring someone else in, and maybe you have a coach that has maybe a little bit more clout as well, that has his connections. Maybe you're going on the recruiting list like crazy. And what a better time than this window coming up in the winter when you've got a lot of cap space opening up and potentially quite a few DP and DP spots open. Maybe you're just creating a whole brand new brand next year. And
So-
I will shut up and hit mute now.
Well, let's run it back though, right? This team, obviously, they hit on Tata. That was a big deal, not just because of the coaching aspect, but essentially the ability to draw in players. You mentioned Miggy, obviously Villalba was another one. I think getting Joseph over here was still part of that as well. So then you go to Frank de Boer, right? And Frank de Boer on paper was actually a pretty good idea, I think, to this day. However, that's when things started going awry with the type of player you're bringing in versus the type of coach you hired. That was where things went high and right. So we also found out that around that time was when Marcelo Bielsa, who if Tata was the guy, Marcelo Bielsa was the one that taught him how to be the guy, was linked. And then after that, Paulo Fonseca was linked, and neither wanted to come here for a variety of reasons, mainly because they wouldn't be in charge of the roster the way they wanted to be. If you look at Bielsa when he went to Leeds, and actually a great documentary, if you ever get a chance to watch it, I think it's on Amazon, covering one of the years that he was there when he showed up, and it was he just like Tata did with Atlanta in 2016, 2017, was the main factor in not only coaching that team to be a better team, but bringing in the players that he needed because he knew what he needed to be successful. It's not like they're just saying, hey, get me that guy because he looks cool. They know what they need to make their team play the way they want it to play. And that's an underrated part of being a coach. Not all coaches have that kind of talent. Well, Marcelo Gallardo would definitely be one that fits that mold. And I'm not at all saying, like, again, I like Pineda. However, I mean, Gallardo has been it. He's been around it. He's done it, right? And then again, huge link to South America, to Argentina, played for the national team. Like he has those connections beyond what anybody else here has had, except barring maybe Tata. So it would be a really, really interesting thing to happen. That being said, yes, it's a tinfoil hat type scenario for sure. It may just be like the kid, they see the talent in him, they want to move him here and take advantage. I mean, hey, it's still a name that you can take advantage of. I mean, that's still got some
Gallardo's
clout to it,
kid
so.
plays for Atlanta United too.
Yeah,
He's
whatever.
has recruiting pitch.
We're rebuilding somewhere. I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, I think
It's a thought.
it's hey, dude, it's not out of the realm of possibility at all.
I'm just thinking how we grow, like how we
Yeah.
move on from here, because we've obviously taken a step back. We're not playing at the same level as some of these top tier teams.
So you said
far as
some teams
bringing
are playing
players in.
chess, some are playing checkers. What do you feel like we're playing right now? Backgammon,
Candyland,
shoots and
Chutes
ladders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're playing right now. We're playing Kerplunk. We're Kerplunking right now.
Or sorry.
Yeah. Freaking Texas.
But
Russian roulette.
no, but they play on Friday against Columbus Crew 2. The match early scheduled for Fifth Third Bank Stadium will be at the training ground due to ongoing field conditions at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. As you know, of course, KSC's football team is one of the primary tenants, and they're starting. I almost said spring training. They're starting fall practice as college football season is coming up. So,
But they're
Fifth Third
laying
Bank
down
out of the
spotty
questions.
grass. And it's
Yeah,
crap right now.
yeah. So the fraction out of commission right now, so that'll be at the training ground close to the public. So I don't know if maybe Gloucester makes his debut. I don't know if Gallardo makes his debut since he's coming over from Argentina. But yeah, a couple of new players in the pipeline for the twos, and then
And two quick little things real quick on them. It's funny because Gallardo's like part of the press release didn't really come with much other than, and this is what makes it so funny to me. And you know, if you want to be a tinfoil hat guy, like he got here on a free transfer from River Plate. He's an attacking midfielder, joined River Plate's academy in 2014 when his father, Marcelo Gallardo, was named manager of the first team, worked his way through the academy, and made his first team debut as a second half sub on March 25th of this year in a 4-3 friendly win against Universidad de Chile. Gallardo has played with River Plate's reserve team for the past couple of seasons. That's how it's worded. I think that's hilarious because it's not like a fact. They just said that whatever, it's past couple seasons. Gloucester, as part of the press release, is very detailed and talks about all of his time with NYCFC. He's been a fixture on the U.S. Youth National Circuit since he was 15, combined 60 appearances for 4 different teams. He represented the U.S. at both the 2017 FIFA U17 World Cup and the 2019 U19 World Cup, where they both reached the quarterfinals. And he also played in the 2018 CONCACAF U20 Championship, where he was a best 11 selection. U.S. beat Mexico that year, by the way. So that's how detailed his was. And then you look at Gallardo's, and it's like, oh, that's it. So, but
His dad's gonna coach the team next year.
yeah, exactly.
No, but yeah, we're just obviously having some fun with it.
We're good talent.
But yeah. Just one other thing with the twos, Tyler Young towards ACL, so
yeah.
in training on Friday, so unfortunately he is out for the season. So best wishes to him.
I'm an idiot. I got the Twitter alert and I just looked at it like really quick. I've been busy at work and I thought it said Trey Young for ACL. And
Wrong
it was
Young.
like, I'm like, what was he doing? Because like you just saw an NFL player get like in a jet ski accident, you know, in the offseason. I thought it was Trey Young. I mean, I hope
Buffalo
Tyler
Bills
Young's
player.
recovers well. But when I saw it was Trey, I'm like, what did he do? They're not even playing games. I'm an idiot. All right. It's been a long day.
No, Trey is okay.
Dude, yes, it
As
has
far
been.
as we know.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
He didn't get hurt. Hopefully. Sydney, also to piggyback on what you were saying earlier, this match will be broadcast though they're playing at the training ground in Atlanta, so you can actually watch this one. You couldn't watch the last one because they had to pick up literally at the last minute and move it to the training ground. This time they have time to set up and put the cameras up, so you can watch it this Friday.
Awesome.
We're back to COVID games with no fans.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Right.
I can't go back to it now. Like I was getting used to it, and then the fans came back, and I'm like, never again. And then you see these empty stadium games. Oh, it's just terrible. Remember when they tried to bring in fake crowds, like the fake digital crowds? I think Fox
Yeah.
tried that for a little bit.
Remember, like,
And then you had the fake crowd noise.
The silhouettes, cardboard silhouettes.
yeah,
on
the MLB like
in the
match. They would have,
stands.
like,
Yeah.
people like
Yeah.
You know the best thing that they did? I think it was the Oakland A's. Sorry, just random rant. The Oakland A's. So I guess Tom Hanks used to be like a Cracker Jack guy for the Oakland A's.
That's
so
amazing.
right behind home plate, they had a Tom Hanks in the outfit, like
Really?
cardboard of it, and then it had his voice pre-recorded. So like every couple of minutes, it would be Tom Hanks' voice going Cracker Jacks,
Interesting.
hot dogs.
I feel like the A's.
That's next level.
That is.
I feel like the A's may as well be playing in empty stadiums now, the way they're going.
yeah.
but-
Pretty much.
No, the MLB does some weird stuff. To add on to what you were saying, y'all remember that movie that just came out like pretty recently, Smile? Like the horror
The
movie.
horror movie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I didn't see it, but
I haven't seen it either, but
I
so
have.
the MLB, well, not the MLB, but the company that produced the movie, they like randomly were doing like this ad campaign where they would put people that were, supposed to be like representing the movie right behind home plate. So you'd be watching the game, and this creepy looking like lady or man or whatever, just standing there like doing that creepy smile. And it's like, dude, if you're the pitcher, this is like cutting from the game.
yeah.
This is not like
You have to,
advertising
you have to
go
watch
home.
that during
Yeah,
the
it's
pitching
doing what Tommy's doing right
performance.
now and freaking
Tommy
everybody
has
out.
like a really weird smile on his face right now. If you're
How
listening to the
close can you get?
podcast, yeah.
Oh,
All
it was
right,
great. And she didn't move her face like either. Like she was so good at it.
yeah.
How do you do that?
That's Kevin Bacon's daughter.
That's why
by
they
the
get
way.
paid the medium. That's why
Really?
they're on strike right now because they're
Yeah.
not getting paid.
All right, Saturday, Cruz Azul, Inter Miami.
I'm sorry,
I don't know,
Ariel.
I
He
keep-
said I'm
I keep
scaring
saying-
him.
I keep saying Inter Miami. I don't know why I keep saying Inter Miami.
I don't want to play Inter
Cruz
Miami
Azul-
ever
Cruz
again.
Azul, Cruz Azul, Atlanta United. Cruz Azul, Atlanta United. How are you feeling? Predictions,
Oh boy.
Tyler.
Oh, fine. I'll go first.
Champ goes last, so
Do you want my optimistic take?
you're just what are you feeling?
Go with your gut.
Yeah, your gut, not your soul.
2-2.
Omar's going 6'9" Cruz Azul. Thank God for Omar here.
Stop,
he just brings
Omar.
us back to the great moments.
2-2 draw. And
I already hate this answer.
Atlanta wins on penalties because I got to watch them take penalties the other day and I was happy actually. So
Did Almada make one?
yes, he did. Yes, he did. Poor guy.
It doesn't matter.
Never needs to take a penalty again. If there's one thing about his game that he does not do well, it is penalty kicks. But he did make the one at the training ground, so whatever.
My heart can't take that.
No.
So you're wrong. Next, Sydney, you're up.
1-1, and
Oh my God,
Atlanta.
Jesus.
I think Atlanta in penalties. I said 1-1 Atlanta in penalties.
I hate you both.
Okay, what's your prediction?
Spaces start so much later when these things happen. This is more what I'm concerned about as well. I think it's 3-1 Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
I'm here for it.
No, I think that you're at home, which is very important. Cruz Azul has been struggling. They've been mostly good at home. They're coming off a terrible, terrible loss. I'm curious, and Tyler, if you're there, I don't even know how you'd even ask it if you could, but like, remember that like after that Philadelphia win, that the 2-0 win, they said that they spent the most time that they ever have watching tape to prepare for that game. Is the only time I think I've ever heard a player, or even Pineda, really say that they spent a ton of time watching tape.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they probably do every game. I don't want to say that they don't. But it's just weird that was the first time I think I've ever heard under Pineda, like them say that they watched a lot of tape.
I feel like you could want to burn the tape from Tuesday, though, don't you? Just burn it.
But like
Get
you
rid
study
of
your
it.
opponents.
No, I see.
Not,
No, I get what you're saying. I'm kidding, but yeah.
right, but like if Pineda, I don't care what anyone says, Pineda has to be feeling some type of stress level here. right? I feel like it's just a bad time right now. He's got to get a win here. He has to get a win. I think he lets his players play. I think that they win. I don't think Sosa starts. I think that he's going to put Sosa on the bench, and I think Ozzy Alonso starts. 3-1 win.
It's bold.
I like it,
It's very
though. I
bold.
mean, I will say this. I'm really curious to see, now that you've had, 3 games where Sosa's just not been good, how he responds to that. Because, especially after this Miami match, because you can use all the excuses that you want of, oh, well, it's Messi, so what do you do? No, like, that's crap. That's a crap excuse. I hate it. I can't stand it. It's one thing to go out there and look like you tried and get beat by the best player in the world, because it's probably going to happen. However, if you look like you didn't try at all, if you're jogging back to try to cover your position and you're doing it poorly and you don't look like you have any sense of urgency on the field, if I'm the coach, this is just me, you're not playing until you show me that you've got a fire lit under your rear end, because that's not good enough. It's not good enough, period. It's there. These players do have the talent, but it ain't being brought out.
Just got to show it.
Exactly. And right
Whatever
now,
you did on Tuesday, just do the opposite.
yeah, run in the opposite direction. Almada, if you get to take a penalty that is not part of the shootout, please,
Convert.
can you
Please
just
make
put it at the 25-yard line instead?
Sigh.
Yeah. We'll see.
Indeed.
We'll see.
Indeed. Yeah, don't forget, as always, and we say all the time, to like our videos and subscribe. We're at, before the show started, we were at 460, which is phenomenal. At 500 is in sight. So please, 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 if you haven't subscribed, tell your friends, tweet us out, share our links on social and all that. We do appreciate it. And then patreon.com/scarves and spikes. Appreciate those, excuse me, that have supported us there and do support us there. Yeah, if you aren't a Patreon member or Patreon backer, please go there. We always say we're planning different stuff for that. We really are planning things for it. Stickers are out, things like that. Other merch coming down there in the future. So, yeah, 461 now. Live update here on the podcast. So, thank you, Ariel, for subscribing. But yeah, patreon.com/scarves and spikes is another way to support us financially. $1.17 tier, $5 tier, $10 tier. What are you looking at, Tommy?
1 million tier.
Not quite 1 million tier yet. Maybe in the future. But
We just need
yeah.
one. We just need one.
Yeah.
Just
No.
one person.
We have a 7-day free trial test drive content we have right now. Try it out, see if you like it for a week. No obligation. But yeah. Patreon.com/scarves and spikes. I'm sorry, I just cleared my throat with my mic
You're fine.
wide open. So I apologize for that.
So Sydney needs some of his own cough syrup.
Yeah, right.
I took Dayquil. I'm taking Dayquil.
That stuff is magical.
Yeah, and I guess we're gonna play it by ear, like for the next couple weeks, because we don't know. Like we don't even know if we might not have a game to really talk about.
Exactly.
We might have a game to talk about next week. We might not, and if not, I think we're just talking about having some fun during the break, if there is a break.
Yeah,
So,
stay tuned.
Talk about some fun stuff.
To our socials and
Brian,
all of that.
We appreciate the comment. He said you guys are doing an amazing job of informing and commiserating with the fans. That's what we want to do. That's what we started doing this for. So we appreciate it 100%. But yeah,
Spaces.
I mean, what's up?
Come on to the Dirty South Soccer Spaces too. We're there after every game, and you're more than welcome to get your voice out there too. I think we had like a record amount of people waiting to get into the to the request. I felt bad. We didn't have time to get everybody in because people wanted to just scream at the sky.
Right. Yeah. Do it after every match, win or lose, or draw. So maybe there won't be a draw on Saturday.
We'll be. No, look. They make it through. If they don't, we're still going to be doing shows. Like that's the thing.
Yes.
Guys. Like we still got the
We'll
World
still
Cup to
be
talk
here.
about. We still got international news to talk about. We'll still hopefully be able to go to the training ground and give you guys updates from that as well. But like we'll still be we're not taking 3 weeks off if they lose.
Yeah. Transfer news.
Yeah,
If
there's
it wins,
plenty
Andy
of-
Martinez going to River Plate.
Hey,
That's a rumor.
Hmm?
It was announced right before we came on.
I mean, go back home.
Barco, LGP.
Well, Barco,
Mean bet Tito at this point.
Oh, it's
too.
Barco. Barco's on his way out, right?
Barco's going to Spain. Yeah,
That's right.
how things have changed for some of these players.
I know.
But
All right, Miguel Berry, you're on the way to River Plate. And hit the music.
here we go.
That's all, folks.
We're out of
Way
here.
Forky.
Thanks everyone, as always, for watching and listening. Really appreciate it, and let's hope for the best on Saturday.
Be
Does
sure
Pep
to
have a
be
there.
kid
Through.
that we could sign?
Who?
A what?
Pep?
Oh, maybe that'd be nice. Maybe Arthur Blank could just buy his contract out. By the way, Arthur Blank's ship was in Turkey.
His ship?
His yacht.
He has
Yeah.
a vessel?
His vessel
Yeah.
float.
The money yacht.
Oh, it's yacht. Okay, got it.
The money yacht.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in Turkey. Oh, okay.
It was in Turkey about a week and a half ago. It's been a minute. I meant to
Let's
say
go
that on
again.
the podcast.
Let's
It's
go
not
down to
even
Turkey.
November.
Yeah.
It took you a second. I was hoping
did.
somebody would get that.
All right,
Yeah.
bye.
See ya.